Welcome to Jungfraujoch Top of Europe. Well, we're not literally at the highest point in Europe, but we are currently standing in the highest train station in Europe and one of the most visited tourist destinations in Switzerland.
There's a lot to explore at Jungfraujoch, and we're gonna give you a complete tour. Now, this is our fourth or fifth time here, so we'll sprinkle in some helpful tips along the way, like how to get here, how much it costs, mandatory seat reservations, what you should wear, and some bonus FAQ. But we didn't come all the way up here just to stay in the station, so let's go start the tour. This self-guided tour starts as soon as you step off the train at 3,454 meters. The special light show on the glimmering curtains is a nice welcome to this year-round snowy wonderland.
Just inside the main doors is the highest post box in Europe with its own postal code. I like to plan ahead and mail a letter from here just because it's fun. And just next to this is the Jungfraujoch passport station. We have a feeling that a lot of people miss this like we did on our first visit, but it's a quick and fun souvenir to snag while you're up here. When you buy your tickets from a ticket office, you'll get this little red booklet, or you can grab one when you reach Eiger Glacier or Jungfraujoch. It's loaded with facts for all of you bookworms, includes coupons for nearby destinations, and has a spot on the back for the official Jungfraujoch stamp. We're going to pass by the other spots in the foyer at this moment, but we'll come back to them later. For now, let's follow the tour signs.
Keep walking down the long, rocky tunnel until you hear the music. That's our next tour stop, the 360 Degrees Cinema. This immersive video explores the nooks and crannies of the Swiss Alps and glaciers, which were formed millions of years ago when the African and European continents collided. The first time we came here, this is where we first felt how cold it was. And the average temperature at Jungfraujoch is -7 degrees Celsius. So if you haven't already put on your layers, now is a good time to do so.
Next is an elevator unlike any you've taken before. It whizzes you up 108 meters in just 27 seconds. For comparison, it would take me about 10 minutes to hike that elevation gain, and this elevator does it in under 30 seconds. As the doors open, the moment you've been waiting for has finally arrived. When your friends ask what you did today, you can tell them that you feasted your eyes on the longest glacier in Europe, looked at some of the highest peaks in Switzerland, and saw 3 countries, Germany, France, and Italy. No big deal, right?
Full disclosure, Jana was a bit lightheaded the first time we came up to Jungfraujoch, but she immediately felt better when we came outside and into the fresh air. Now, I'm no medical professional, but if you feel like that too, grab a chocolate bar because apparently the sugar helps. And then hang out for a bit on the terrace here too. We also get asked quite a bit if it's safe to bring small children up here. And while that's a question for your actual pediatrician, ours said that it's too high in elevation for our infant.
Walk around the entire Sphinx Terrace to soak it all in. And if you're curious why it's called the Sphinx Terrace, it's because the rocks under you resembled a lion before this was built. When your eyes need a break from the incomprehensible views, or from all the selfie sticks, look up. The dome on the building has been a research station since 1922, studying things like weather, geology, astronomy, and physics.
Coming to Jungfraujoch was on my dad's bucket list for a few years. Last year, I finally got to bring him up here, and this right here was his favorite spot. We rode up on the first train in the morning and came straight here, so we literally had this entire terrace all to ourselves. And the glacier, which we'll show you here soon. Man, it's just so humbling to be up here. I mean, the fact that you can ride a train up to see this glacier is just unreal. And even though it's pretty expensive and touristy, being able to see the Aletsch Glacier is truly spectacular.
We're Jana and Brett, Aplins in the Alps, and we help you travel Switzerland with confidence, whether you're hitting the highlights like the top of Europe or preferring to get more off the beaten path. And if you're struggling to plan your Swiss vacation, our free YouTube videos and comprehensive travel guides are so much more than your average guidebook. They give step-by-step itineraries for where to go, how to get there, what to do, how long to stay, and what it'll all cost. So if you need even more detailed help planning your trip to Jungfraujoch, then be sure to check out our 1-week guide to the Jungfrau Region. But I know that these views are spectacular, so let's continue with the tour, shall we? Follow the signs from the terrace down to the Snow Fun Park. Yep, you're about to walk on the Aletsch Glacier, which is basically a half marathon long and thicker than 3 Eiffel Towers stacked on top of each other. The snow activities include a zip line, sledding, snow tubing, skiing, or snowboarding. These cost extra, but it's free to walk and play in the snow. Just stay inside the fences because, you are on a glacier.
By the way, Jungfraujoch is open 365 days a year and guarantees year-round snow. But these activities are only open from about early May to mid-October, depending on the weather. Now, if you're looking for even more glacial fun, you can book guided mountain climbs, helicopter rides, and even guided glacial hikes. That last one is high on my bucket list. Although you don't need a guide to hike to the Jungfraujoch hut, the highest manned hut in Switzerland. It's a 45-minute uphill hike. And since we're higher than 11,000 feet in elevation, it's normal for this to feel like a healthy challenge, even for all of you fit and active hikers. You don't need any special equipment or gear other than good shoes for the snow. I love my Ultra Trail runners, and Jana enjoys her Solomon Trail sneakers. But pro tip, bring an extra pair of socks because yours are likely to get wet. And how awesome is this hut? It's literally perched on the side of the mountain. When you get inside, swap your hiking shoes for a pair of provided house shoes to help keep the floors clean. The cozy dining room is the perfect place to hang out for a drink or meal. On our first hike here, we got to watch a helicopter deliver supplies while we ate our alpine macaroni. And once you're refueled, hike back along the same snow trail to Jungfraujoch.
Before we continue with our next tour stops, let's chat about how to reach Jungfraujoch. So first of all, you can not drive all the way here. So if you're coming by car, you'll need to park in either Lauterbrunnen or Grindelwald. Second, if you need help navigating public transportation, be sure to check out our guide, which helps you ride like a pro. And third, there are 3 possible ways to get up here with public transport. From Lauterbrunnen by train via Wengen, Kleine Scheidegg, and Eigergletscher. From Grindelwald station by train via Grindelwald Grün, Kleine Scheidegg, and Eigergletscher, or the cable car from Grindelwald Terminal to Eigergletscher, which is the fastest route. All 3 of these options bring you to Eigergletscher, where you'll hop on board the Jungfraubahn and ride in a tunnel through the mountains. About halfway, the train stops at Eismeer, where you can get off and look through the windows at the sparkling glaciers below. Then finish your journey to the highest train station in Europe. And how much will all of that transportation cost you? Well, we'll get to that in a minute so we don't overwhelm you with too many details all at once.
I like to read the trail signs, and Jana always stops to read every single info panel. So we're gonna let her give you a quick rundown of the facts about this museum-like part of Jungfraujoch.
Edelweiss is the national flower of Switzerland, and there are more than 220 of them glowing here at the start of the Sphinx Hall. The giant snow globe depicts the specialties of the Jungfrau region, like mountains and animals, and of course, the Jungfraubahn. You're walking through the highest karstic cave that's estimated to be 1.5 million years old. This part of the tour is dedicated to the Italian miners who spent 16 years constructing the train tunnel with simple axes and shovels and dynamite. And there's even a tribute to the savvy entrepreneur who dreamed up Jungfraujoch and launched this project in 1896.
Okay, that's enough history. Let's go have some fun in the Ice Palace.
Once you enter, you're walking 20 meters below the surface of the glacier where the temperature is a constant 27 degrees Fahrenheit. You can touch the icy walls, hang out by the ice bar, where you'll be waiting a while for a drink since it's only open for special events. Admire the sculptures, and sneak through the blue tunnels. Sometimes you can even see the whiskey, wine, or balsamic vinegar aging up here. And if you're like Brett, the icy tunnels bring out your inner child. He just can't resist skating every time we visit.
We thought it was at least appropriate to show you our favorite spots. The Jungfraujoch hut for me and the Ice Palace for Jana before talking about money. Because unfortunately, tickets to Jungfraujoch are not cheap. Depending on which of the routes you take to get up or down, full-price round-trip tickets cost between 200 and 262 francs depending on the season. But thankfully, kids 6 to 15 years old cost just 20 francs, and kids under 6 are completely free. Seat reservations cost 10 francs and are now mandatory from May through October and highly encouraged outside of that time. However, if you take one of the early morning trains outside of peak season, then you might not need seat reservations. For example, I went with my dad in March on the first train of the day, and then again in mid-October to film this video, and it was pretty empty. But 10 francs is quite an affordable insurance policy to make sure you get on your desired departure. As we've said before, not buying a Swiss train pass is like throwing your money in the garbage, because a train pass can save you loads of money on Jungfraujoch tickets. For example, the Swiss Half Fare card gives you a 50% discount, and the Jungfrau Travel Pass offers the best deal of all, covering your rides all the way up to Eiger Glacier or Kleine Scheidegg. And kids 6 to 15 are completely covered by the Swiss Family Card, which you can request for free when buying a Swiss Travel Pass or Half Fare card. Just don't forget that they would still need a seat reservation if necessary. But if you're really intent on throwing your money away and do not plan to travel with a train pass, at least get the Good Morning ticket to enjoy a 20% discount. If you need help picking train passes for your trip, our Swiss Train Pass checklist will give you our best recommendations for your specific itinerary, so you can snag that for free after you finish this video.
Jungfraujoch is open 365 days a year, and your ticket includes all the transportation to get there as well as the tour stops. It does not include the snow fun activities, restaurants, or shopping. And by the way, there are different trains and cable cars to reach Jungfraujoch, and all of them have different seasons of closing for maintenance. So while you can always get to the top of Europe, your exact route might change depending on the time of year you visit. If you have our 1-week guide to the Jungfrau region, you can find updated opening and closing information for all of these modes of transportation in the spreadsheet included in your bundle. So when and where can you buy tickets and seat reservations?
Seat reservations can be purchased on the Jungfrau website up to 6 months in advance, or even on the day of travel. Now, the most difficult thing about this whole process is that you have to choose how long you will stay at Jungfraujoch. If you want to leave earlier or later than your planned departure, you'll need to ask the staff if there are any open seats available. For context, in our guide, we recommend 3 hours if you will not hike to the Jungfraujoch hut, and 5.5 hours if you do plan to visit the hut. We suggest buying your seat reservation in advance, but not purchasing your ticket until the day of travel, so you know you'll have good weather or can look at the webcams. Because if the weather turns poor, it's better to lose 10 francs than the cost of the entire ticket. You can buy your tickets at any train station in the Jungfrau region, on the SBB website, on the Jungfrau website, or on the SBB mobile app. The app is our favorite way to buy tickets, but if you're traveling with one of the passes that only discounts your journey by 25%, it's best to buy on the Jungfrau website. And here are 2 special tips for you. First, you're not forced to travel down the same exact way you travel up. When selecting your departure time from Jungfraujoch, scroll all the way down and click where it says Plan Individual Itinerary. Now, you can choose from traveling down to Grindelwald, Grindelwald Terminal, or even Lauterbrunnen. Second, if you only need a ticket and not a seat reservation, you'll have the chance to remove the reservation from your order before making your purchase.
So, is Jungfraujoch worth it? Well, there's a few more tour stops left that might sway you one way or the other. The Glacier Plateau might be the most underrated spot at Jungfraujoch. I have so many memories of wrangling my hair in the wind while snapping a photo by the whipping Swiss flag or playing I Spy with hikers on the glacier and mountaineers on the mountains. Plus, it seems like there are always fewer tourists out here compared to the Sphinx Terrace, maybe because you have to climb a small hill to get up here.
Gulp down a bit more of that alpine air before going back inside. There are a variety of spots to eat, from a casual lounge to self-service restaurant to a sit-down restaurant. As you'd expect, they all deliver huge windows with panoramic views and typical Swiss food. We usually prefer to pack our own snacks for the tour and then eat a meal on the amazing terrace at Eiger Glacier restaurant instead. But it's helpful to know there are food and drinks available at Jungfraujoch if you need them. As for souvenirs, head to the highest Lindt chocolate shop in the world or browse the Top of Europe shop. In fact, if you have a Jungfrau travel pass, you get a 10% discount on your purchase from any Top of Europe shop.
Here's a quick hit list of the top FAQs that you have asked us about Jungfraujoch. Definitely wear layers because the average temperature at Jungfraujoch is below freezing year-round. But in the summer, you might be stripping off those layers in the hot sun. If you need them, there are paid luggage lockers available at the start of the tour between the station and the cinema. There are free bathrooms at Jungfraujoch and at the major train stations along the way like Grindelwald Terminal and Lauterbrunnen. You can check the webcams online to see a live view before heading up the mountain, and sometimes the station is even above the clouds. You may feel some impact of the elevation since we're at more than 11,000 feet. It's normal to be a bit short of breath or easily winded, so just take your time. And you're likely to be more tired after you descend too. But we are not medical professionals, so please consult your doctor or pediatrician before visiting. The best way to beat the crowds is to take one of the first trains up in the morning. Like Brett said earlier, him and his dad went straight to the Sphinx Terrace first and were the only ones up there, and then finished the tour afterwards. Jungfraujoch is wheelchair and stroller accessible. If you need any assistance, you can always ask the staff. There are some cool selfie spots up here, so make room on your camera roll. And if you're short on time, the Sphinx Terrace, Ice Palace, and Glacier Plateau are our favorite stops. But really, don't rush this. You paid good money to come up here, so take your time and enjoy it. Is Jungfraujoch worth it? Trust your gut to decide if it should be included in your itinerary. We've observed that it's popular for people who like the tourist highlights, families with older kids, train enthusiasts, and anyone who thinks it's awesome to walk on a glacier. But there are so many other amazing things to do and see in the Jungfrau region, so don't force a trip here if you have other sightseeing priorities.
Okay, so you've spent a few hours up at Jungfraujoch. Where else can you go afterwards to fill a full day in your itinerary?
Personally, we like to travel up via Grindelwald Terminal because it's the fastest route and the giant gondola windows provide some killer views of Grindelwald's broad hills below. And on the way down, we like to stop at Restaurant Glacier for lunch and then enjoy the slow train to Alpiglen for drinks or dessert with a view before ending back in Grindelwald. But a morning at Jungfraujoch does pair nicely with an afternoon exploring the alpine villages of Wengen or Murren or Gimmelwald, or enjoying the high cliffs and waterfalls of Lauterbrunnen, or even hiking from Kleine Scheidegg to Mannlichen, which is one of our favorite viewpoints in the region. So how do you choose what to do next? Our Swiss travel guides take out all of the guesswork by telling you where to go, how to get there, what to do, and so much more. Or watch this next to see a roundup of our absolute favorite places in the Jungfrau region, and we'll see you in Switzerland, maybe even at the top of Europe.